Hello, my name is Dustin, and today we're going to be looking at creating imagery through AI models. The software we're going to be looking at is called Midjourney, and you'll be able to take text-based prompts that you write and quickly create stunning images. Let's jump in and take a look. To begin creating images, head to midjourney.com and enter the provided username and password. Once you log in, you'll be presented with a home page like this, populated with images that other users have created. You can see there's a large range of styles of imagery that can be created, from things that are photorealistic to more animated. If you click on one of the images and look over here, you can see the text prompt that was used to generate the image. Feel free to browse these and see what text prompts create images that connect with you. To begin creating our first image, let's go over here to the left on the Create and click the Create panel, which will take you to your own personalized feed. These are some images that I created earlier today when I was experimenting with different art styles to show a bicycle race. You can see here on the right the prompt that I used to create these images, which will be typed up here at the top in this bar that says, "What will you imagine?" So let's talk a little bit about text-based prompts and how to write one to realize your images. Let's begin by discussing the basics of prompting. This isn't the only way to prompt Midjourney, but it's a great place to start. In this method, the prompt is composed of 5 different pieces: the format, subject, details, stylization, and parameters. Let's begin with format. Format is what type of image you'd like Midjourney to create. Do you want an illustration, or something photorealistic, or maybe something that's animated in the style of anime? This is where you will tell Midjourney what format of photo you would like. In my case, I want my image to look very vintage, so I'm using a Polaroid camera, which is an instant camera commonly used in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. So my format is a Polaroid photo of. Next, my subject, as seen in red. I would like a spaceship launch in the hills of Appalachia. So basically the subject is, what would you like Midjourney to make a picture of? What is your main subject of the picture? In my case, it's the spaceship launch in the hills of Appalachia. Next are the details. So what do you want to see in your image other than the main subject? In my case, the spaceship launching and people observing. Make sure to use a comma between each detail that you'd like Midjourney to observe. Next is stylization. What style would you like the image? In my case, I'm looking for something retro but also futuristic, so I'm using the term retrofuturism, a retro vision of the future. So putting that together, my prompt will be a Polaroid photo of a spaceship launch in the hills of Appalachia. Spaceship launching, people observing, stylized and retrofuturism. The fifth and final part of the basic prompt is parameter. We'll discuss the parameters later when we get back in Midjourney. All right, we're back in Midjourney. The first thing I'm going to do is come down here to the bottom left and switch it from light mode to dark mode. I think it's just a little easier on the eyes. Next, I'm going to paste our prompt in. Polaroid photo of a spaceship launch in the hills of Appalachia. Spaceship launching, people observing, stylized and retrofuturism. Let's press enter and see what we get. So as you can see, Midjourney is taking this text prompt and beginning to create 4 separate images based on what you wrote. And here they start to come in. As you can see, the 4 images are quite different. You click on them, you can zoom in, get a better look. It definitely looks like Polaroid. You can see kind of the worn imagery here on the film. This one's pretty cool. I think I'm going to try my luck again though and see if I can get 4 more. So I'm going to go ahead and press rerun. If I hover over here on the right and click on rerun, it'll use the same prompt and give me 4 more. Let's see if we get anything more interesting this time. Okay. I think that one looks too much like the space shuttle. I think my favorite one is still this, but I still think we can do better. So I'm going to paste my prompt back in. So same prompt that we had before. And then if I go to the right here and click these little slider icons, it'll open up this menu that's going to give me more options on my image generation. So the first thing we can talk about is the image size. You can switch it to portrait mode, square, or landscape, depending on your preference. There's also this slider, so you can kind of move between different aspect ratios, or you can type it in. I'm going to use 16:9 because that's very common in film, so it's going to have like a very cinematic look. The next set of options that we get are the model used. So mode, there's standard and raw. And if you hover over these things, they'll kind of give you a lot of definitions, which is super helpful. But standard tends to be a little more for like animated images, and raw tends to be for things that are more photorealistic. So I'm going to use raw because I wanted kind of a Polaroid vintage photograph. Version, these are older versions of Midjourney that you can experiment with, but for the most part, the newer versions work better. Personalization we can talk about later. And then we come over here to aesthetics. So you get 3 different options here and slider bars to control the options. There's stylization, weirdness, and variety. So if we look at these definitions, stylization influences how strongly the Midjourney aesthetic is applied. So basically, the lower this value, the closer it is to your prompt. The higher this value, the more Midjourney kind of gets to insert its wackiness into the image. Weirdness introduces quirky qualities to your generated images, resulting in unique and unexpected outcomes. So if you want something strange, something random, something to really kind of shake up your workflow, you would want to turn this up. And then finally, variety gives you basically a bigger difference between the 4 images that are generated. So they can be vastly different in style. And then finally is speed. I wouldn't worry too much about this. You can keep it on fast for now, but the other 2 options are available depending on what level Midjourney you have. So yeah, we're going to do 16:9, raw, stylization. I'm going to let Midjourney kind of play with it a little more. Maybe let's get it a little weird. And I want the images to be like a lot different. So I'm going to change these. Then we're going to rerun Midjourney. We'll click out. And you can see already that the images are bigger because now we're generating at a 16:9 aspect ratio. So it's going to have that cinematic look, but it's still going to feel kind of like a Polaroid camera filter, even though it's not square. Okay. So this one looks a little bit like a paper airplane. This one has some interesting light that I like above the grass. This one, I like all the people in the foreground out of focus. And this one, I think the color pink is pretty interesting. So let's re-roll that one more time, just to see if we get 4 better ones, and then we'll move on. Okay, wow. I really like this one. This has a lot of interesting colors and kind of this strange, like ghost-like fog. I think it's really interesting. So once you click the photo, you have a few more options here. And you can hover over again to get definitions of everything. You can vary the image, either subtly or a lot. You can upscale the image. You can rerun the same prompt. Or you can open up a photo editor to change just parts of the picture instead of the entire picture. Or you can reuse this image or prompt in a new creation. So I'm going to say let's vary it strong because I like the colors, but I don't love the kind of the framing of it. So if I click out, you see it's going to give me 4 new images that are variations on this image. So it's kind of interesting. So I like the framing of this, but I don't love the spaceship on this one. It looks a little weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it into the editor here. And then you can erase or restore. So for this, I'm going to erase the spaceship. And then I'm going to restore this area. Sorry, I had to do that again. I'm going to erase this spaceship. And then if you come over here, you can change your prompt and tell it what to put here. I'm going to say retro futuristic spaceship launching. And then if I hit submit, if you look up here on the right, you're going to get new images. Hopefully with that fixed. So you can see you start to get different choices of the spaceship. I think that one's kind of cool. So now that I have this, I'm going to vary one more time, strong. So I really like this composition. We'll see what I get. Okay, yeah, I think this is going to be the one. It kind of has like a Stranger Things vibe to it. I really like the color. I like the red into the green. I like how bright the flames coming off the spaceship is. I love the film grain from the Polaroid camera. I think this is really the image that I was kind of imagining in the beginning of this process. So what you want to do, once you're happy with your image, you want a upscaled version of it, so it'll be high quality. You're going to hit subtle, upscale. Or if you want it to change more, you could do a creative upscale scale. But I really like this image, so this is it. You can see the image is starting. Not done yet. Once this is complete, I'll have a really high resolution image that I can then download and use as a wallpaper or a screensaver. A couple other things to note about like the 16:9 aspect ratio. It's cinematic, but it also like fills a computer screen really well. But if you're generating, an image for like Instagram or Snapchat or something, you would definitely want to use something that's more like a portrait aspect ratio. It's really just dependent on, where do you want people to see the image? Okay, yeah, and that's it. It looks great. So if I right click, I can save image as, or I can copy the URL or copy image. So I can save it to my computer, things like that, and bring it into other software. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed this tutorial. I think that's just kind of like the beginning of what Midjourney can do. I'll probably make a series of more of these videos, kind of showing other ways you can interact with the software. But I think this should be a pretty solid start. Good luck with your generations. I'm really excited to see them.